Don't tell me you trust him, Howard asked. We were standing around near the burned-out house. I told them about the conversation between the captain and me as Howard gathered some dead wood and debris. I shrugged. Short answer, no. Once I proposed my plan to the captain, he agreed to assist in the endeavor. He even helped me reattach the wheels to the tanker and shook my hand before driving off. I waited for 5 minutes before I drove away. Fred had been inspecting the tanker for any signs of sabotage. I have to go along with Howard on this one, Zach. He can't be trusted. I nodded. I agree, Fred, but in spite of the trust factor, I think we can pull it off. We're gonna need the extra firepower if we have any hope of getting into downtown Nashville. Besides, this will give us an opportunity to learn who and what we're up against. Howard chewed on his lip a moment. You might have a point, Zach. Know your enemy. That's what one of them war generals said, right? I smiled and nodded. You're thinking if the racist bastard sees we're an asset, he won't try to kill us, like when I fixed his bus. Is that what you're thinking? I nodded again. He has a grand scheme of rebuilding the world. He'll view us as nothing more than minions, but it should be enough for him to not try any nonsense. So he wants to rebuild the world, with him being the king of this new society, of course. He has grandiose delusions, Fred said. He stacked the corpses together and Howard began stacking the kindling. Soaking it with some of our newly acquired fuel, he lit it carefully. I nodded. Yeah, I suppose. The point is, he claims he wants to rebuild, not go around killing everyone. He may be Machiavellian, but we can work with it, at least for a little while. What do you think, guys? I asked, as we got the bodies burning sufficiently. Both men thought about it as we got in the truck and started toward home. Fred pointed at the two of us as he drove. You two decide, and I'll help out however I can. I'm leaving soon, and I don't know if I'll even make it back. So I don't believe I should have a vote on the matter. I looked at Howard, who shrugged noncommittally. We need fuel, that's a fact. He rubbed his face. I don't trust him. He's not right in the head, I'm thinking. But I'll go along with it if you think it'll benefit us, Zach. We ultimately agreed. We drove back to my farm with Howard chit-chatting about the weather. Fred was his usual quiet self. It won't be long now, I finally said. Howard glanced at me. I had brought up the subject none of us wanted to discuss. Yep, Fred responded. I figure the day after we get the gas, I'll head out. He looked over from the driver's seat. You two have been a tremendous help. Zach, you've thought of stuff I never would have dreamed of. Howard, you've got that truck in tip-top shape. I actually think I'm going to be able to make it thanks to you two. We were getting close to the turnoff to the driveway. He suddenly stopped the truck in the middle of the road. I thought maybe he saw some zombies or something and looked around hastily. Seeing no threat, I looked at Fred. He was staring straight ahead. Give me a year. If I'm not back by then and you haven't heard from me, you'll know I'm dead. You'll know what to do. He was quiet then and then proceeded up the driveway without waiting for a response. I looked at him a moment, then stared out of the window. I wanted to say something, anything that sounded reassuring, but came up empty. We had planned, prepared, rehearsed, all in secrecy. Fred did not want the girls to know what he was going to do until the day he was leaving. I guess he hated long goodbyes. I watched him as he readjusted the guns on his hips,